So last week I put out a poll. What video do you want me to make next? And if you guys didn't know, we had a little bit of a dip, a little bit of a crypto dip this past week. So, how to make money during a crypto crash was by far the highest voted option. So, I went ahead and I put out that video just yesterday. So, after the dip ended, but I did want to give a quick shout out to my guy, my gal, Rye, and sharing this super kind comment. Everyone should watch this video about how to make money during a crypto crash. So, Rye, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching the channel, and I hope you enjoyed this shout out. Okay, so let's jump into today's video. So, Elon Musk convinces miners to form a Bitcoin mining council to promote renewable energy usage. So, this is really interesting. In this council, and he also had Michael Saylor there as well. They had some of the largest mining operations, mining companies in the US at the table. Okay, they had Argo Blockchain, BlockCap, Core Scientific, Galaxy Digital, Hive Blockchain, Hut 8 Mining, Marathon, and Riot. And this all comes off of the back of, way back in February, Tesla was going to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment, as well as they bought 1.5 billion of the asset. And then flash forward until May, and Elon changed his mind. And he said he changed his mind over some of the climate concerns associated with Bitcoin. Now, all that's super, super weird. If you guys don't know, Elon is like the champion of green energy, solar panels and batteries and electric cars. And he's also very, very smart. I think we can all agree to that. So going into Bitcoin, you have to wonder how he didn't know about the industry, the mining industry behind Bitcoin, and how these tokens are kind of put together. So anyhow, so this news comes out. That was on the 13th of May, I believe. And then we had a pretty solid dip that occurred right after that, as well as some other FUD around China and whatnot. So it's really interesting when you begin to kind of dig into some of this information. So if you guys didn't know, back in April, there were a really bad mining accident in China. There was a flooded mine, some miners were trapped, and it ended up disrupting some of the power flow to a province in China. And it just so happened that the provinces that were affected were some of the largest Bitcoin hash rates were coming out of those mines. And so there's some wild price fluctuations, and people were panic selling and all those good things. But off the back of Elon's tweets, it kind of brought China and their energy consumption and how they mine Bitcoin to the forefront. Now, if you guys didn't know, China mines their hash rate, I should say their hash rate is over 65%. So when you talk about a decentralized token, that's a lot. That's a majority of production in a single country. And as we experienced this past week, if the Chinese government wants to send out a tweet and threaten the long-term standing of crypto, it has a massive, massive impact on the entire cryptocurrency space. So it's interesting to me that Elon Musk and Michael Saylor got together with some of these US miners to talk about the topic of clean energy, specifically for cryptocurrency mining. And I have to wonder if it's an opportunity for US to differentiate themselves. Bitcoin cryptocurrency is going to be here for the long term. It's a long-term vision. And to kind of get ahead of the curve when it comes to some of that green energy stuff, to really separate ourselves from China and hopefully, equalize out the production that's happening out of those mining rigs. So if you guys didn't know, the environmental cost associated with mining Bitcoin is quite substantial. You have China, who has a goal of having their carbon emissions peak in 2030 and level out by being carbon neutral by 2060. But with over 65% of the Bitcoin mining coming out of China, there's a ton of pollution that kind of comes with using coal, which is the main form of energy that they use, at least not in the rainy season. So China's computing power in their emissions associated with Bitcoin mining exceed that of the Czech Republic, an entire country, and Qatar in 2016. And by 2024, as Bitcoin increases in price, the usage and adoption of it increases, it's going to, their energy consumption is going to outweigh the countries of Italy and Saudi Arabia, and it would be ranked as the 12th among all nations, with over 5% of China's electricity generation emissions coming from Bitcoin mining. So it's really timely that these conversations are coming to head. And I have to wonder, again, if there's going to be an opportunity for the US to differentiate themselves from the Chinese, hopefully be able to break the cycle of Chinese news article, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, tanks the price. We all have to panic and react. Meanwhile, they're probably playing us like a fiddle. So if we take that and we also kind of add in some of these things that are happening in the US, right? We have mining facilities that are getting $651 million to buy and expand operations, $35 million round to grow their mining operations from the U.S. mining venture block caps. The operator of the largest Bitcoin mine in the U.S. looking to raise $500 million to have a listing later in this U.S. or later in the U.S. So there's a heck of a lot of money going around this thing. And I think the U.S. is really trying to be aggressive in how they establish their cryptocurrency infrastructure. Again, not just for the short term, but for the long term. So we even had some folks like Kevin O'Leary come out and say that he isn't going to buy Bitcoin unless it's mined with clean energy and that he can prove it. Now, I actually went on Reddit and I asked the question, is this feasible? And the short answer is no, not really. I mean, let's say hypothetically that you were able to get a token and that miner went through a process to validate it was mined using clean energy, and you could see that on the blockchain. What are you going to do with it? So you have this clean token. What are you going to do with it? If you're going to use it or sell it, that goes out to miners to process the transaction. How can you hold all of them accountable to use clean energy? You know, it really kind of falls flat on its face. And so with all that in, why is Elon going through all these efforts to jump into the cryptocurrency space, become the Doge father, right? Accept Bitcoin, now not accept Bitcoin due to environmental concerns? Like, what is his strategy? Because there is a strategy. Again, he's a very intelligent man. He's done very well for himself, and you don't get there by just doing things on a whim. There's a strategy that he's following. And I think my hypothetical guess is that it comes down to, well, a few things. First, I think it comes down to his legacy. I think Elon, you know, when you've accomplished as much as he has, there's a point where money, it doesn't matter anymore. It literally doesn't matter anymore. And now it's more about establishing a legacy that will live on for generations. And I think that's what Elon is chasing here. I think he sees cryptocurrency as the future, and I think he's trying to carve out his role in helping us get there. Now, I think the other part of it too is he's probably trying to sell us something. You know, he creates batteries, mobile charging stations, solar panels. You know, when we talk about clean energy, Tesla is a company that could potentially benefit from that at some point in the future. And then I think you also got to throw in some ego stuff. He's probably, heard about Bitcoin, heard about some of the issues with it. Maybe he has some misunderstandings of the fundamentals, and ultimately just kind of claimed himself as the messiah to come out and be the one to champion Bitcoin and fix it and get it cleaned up and working properly. Like, I imagine that's kind of how his mind works. So we take all of that, and we also add in the backdrop that crypto is getting adopted by the corporates, right? Big banks, big hedge funds. And I think these type of conversations that really kind of challenge the nature of cryptocurrency are only going to continue in increasing volume. I think ultimately, though, for cryptocurrency to be adopted from a mainstream approach, these conversations are necessary. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be situations where we don't always get what we want, but in the end, it helps push the industry forward and helps the industry grow. So anyhow, that's my thoughts on Elon Musk and his green mining council, some of the backdrop behind why I think he's so interested in pushing things forward. I think ultimately for us, it continues to be a tremendous vehicle to invest in, as long as you're investing wisely and doing your research. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. My name's Ryan Turner. This is the No Autopilot YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.